Hi, SCCA teachers and staff. Welcome back to Wonderful School Year. My name is Kim Meservy, and I am one of the assistant directors of our counseling service team, alongside Sydney Brown and our director of school counseling, Shay Heller. We want to welcome you back and thank you for taking the time for watching this recording. We know many of you are excited to jump in and get your welcome calls started and start connecting with your students and families. But before we do so, we just want to thank you for being a partner with our school counseling team. We know going into these welcome calls, you can hear all sorts of different stories. So we want to encourage you to continue to have courageous conversations and to offer our school counseling support whenever you feel like it's necessary. It could be that they are having a difficult family situation at home, having trouble making friends. Maybe they're just not excited about school, or they're feeling some anxiety starting with our virtual platform. Whatever the situation may be, it always is helpful if the homeroom teacher asks a simple question of, "Hey, would you like the school counselor's support?" This simple question does help bridge the gap between our school counselors and our families, and that all starts with you. You are the one that they trust the most, the one that they have the most contact with. So please know throughout the year, if you do have a concern and you think that a school counselor would be helpful to the student and to the family, we simply ask that you bridge that gap and help us along the way. That way we can build trusting relationships from the very beginning of the school year, right? So you hear something in the beginning, don't shy away from that. Just ask, "Hey, you want the school counselor to reach out?" And we will be happy to do that and to get some more information. Again, our goal is to continue creating meaningful relationships with our students and with our families. And when our families feel that they are invited into the process first, it makes our phone call much more well received. So thank you for that. For a lot of you did this last year, and we really, really do appreciate you partnering with us and helping bridge that gap. All right, well, let's jump into our protocols. I am going to ask that everybody stay with me during this section. I'd appreciate it. Once we cover the protocols, returning staff who are familiar with the remaining information, you can stop the recording, but we're going to ask that our new staff watch this all the way through so that you get the entire training and so that you feel equipped here at our school. Okay, well, this is our student safety resource page. I do want to take a couple minutes to go over this resource with all of our staff, returning and new. First and foremost, we want you to bookmark our 24-hour phone bank. This is extremely important if you have an emergency and need to get a police officer out to the home. You can simply come over here, click F. You can put in the name of the county that they live in, or you can put in the town that they live in, or you can even put in the zip code, and it will highlight and tell you exactly the phone number to call for their non-emergency line. Of course, if you have a life-threatening emergency, you will call 911. But if for some reason you just need to get a police officer out to the home to check in on the situation, then you will want this phone bank. So go ahead and star it up at the top so that you have this resource moving forward. Another resource that I would like to go over with everyone is our counseling Padlet. If you click here, you will see our entire counseling services team. You have Shay Heller, myself, and Sydney Brown. We're always here and happy to help. We have our assistant, Lindsay French, and then it's broken down by school. So elementary, middle, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then we have a specialized team. And of course, we cannot forget about our lovely school social workers who are also on this Padlet. Always reach out if you need anything. We are all here and happy to support. But this is a good way to figure out who your student school counselor is, or you can go and connect this to sections and you can see what student is assigned to what counselor. Over to the left is all of our child welfare protocols. We have one for elementary, middle, and high school. So you always want to be sure that you click whichever protocol you need to go through. If you are a returning staff and you feel comfortable with our child welfare protocol, you are free to stop this recording. But if you are a new staff, we ask that you stay with us till the very end so that we can go over all this information with you. Okay, everyone, we are going to take a minute and look at a child welfare protocol. What is most important when dealing with our child welfare protocols is recognizing students' concerns. So let's talk about some of these indicators that a student may need support. Now, of course, they're not always black and white situation, but there are some key words and concerns we want everyone to recognize. So some examples include suicidal thoughts, self-harm, abuse or neglect, human trafficking, substance abuse, eating disorders, severe depression, anxiety, hospital, grief, and the list continues. If any of these concerns come up in a conversation, it's important to remember that while the school counselors can provide support, some of these situations do require outside mental health or some community resources. We do have a wonderful school social worker team, but we ask that if you need them, that you go through your school counselor first. Because we have a limited amount of our school social workers, we always want to go through our school counselors first so that we can ensure that it is an appropriate concern in order to get the support to the student that they need. But we, of course, can help make referrals. We can partner with outside resources to make sure they have everything that they need. There are also other student situations that might come up, such as grief, family changes, divorce, or academic struggles that are affecting their school success. These are all situations that our school counselors can help, and they can provide direct support, offering short-term solution-focused counseling to help get them back on track. So again, we ask that you go through the school counselor so that they can determine what level of support is needed. If you're unsure whether or not something should be referred over to the school counselor, please just consult, send a chat, add some time to our school counselor's calendar. We would much rather have a conversation than miss an opportunity to help a student that might need support. So when in doubt, reach out to a school counselor, and we are always happy to help. Now, let's dig into this child welfare protocol a little bit more. I want to take some time to first go over the non-imminent danger. Imminent danger means you are concerned, but your non-imminent danger means that you are concerned, but you're not so concerned that you need this addressed today. These are still important concerns that require counselor support, but we're not worried about the student's immediate safety. So some examples are anxiety, grief or loss of a loved one, family changes, emotional concerns, academic struggles related to social emotional needs. In these situations, it's okay to end the conversation during that time, but we want to make sure that we follow up. So that is non-imminent, okay? This would require a chat to your counselor, a time added to their calendar, because we want to inform them. You will also log the conversation in Connexus, and we'll talk about confidential logs and non-confidential logs later in this training, but you will log the conversation. After you speak with your school counselor, that's when we ask you to either create the child welfare IA or whatever the school counselor's advice is back to you. Okay, so we do ask that you consult with our school counselors before creating the child welfare IA because we want to make sure that it's an appropriate IA and an appropriate means of support. Next, we're going to talk about imminent danger. This means you're concerned for the student's immediate safety. You do not feel comfortable ending the phone call or leaving the live lesson because you believe the student or someone around the student is in immediate danger. So some examples of this would be a student threatening suicide, a student threatening to harm someone else or themselves, a student reporting current abuse in the home, or a student describing emergency that's happening right now. In these situations, our first priority is to always help the student and help them get to safety. So we want you to ask them and confirm the student's current location. With our unique environment, we can never assume that they are home. Some students may be visiting a relative's house, another parent's house, or they might be in another location in another state or at a friend's house. We just need to make sure that we have an accurate address so emergency responders can be sent to the correct location. If possible, we want you to keep the student on the phone or in live lesson while we are getting help arranged for them. So remember, you are not alone in these situations. If you had one of these situations, we need to call 911 immediately. So we want you to inform your school administrators and your school counselors. You can always add myself and Sid or Shay Heller to the chat. But get a group on a chat and let people know that you have an immediate safety concern and need assistance, and somebody will hop on and help you. Now, if you are actively talking with the student, another member will call 911 on your behalf so that you can continue supporting the student. We could even have a counselor jump into the live lesson. We can add somebody else into the phone call if you are not comfortable. But we need you to know that we are here to help and that we will get help out there. And once the crisis has been resolved and we know that the student is safe, we will go over some other documentation things that we'll need to do in the future, but for now we always want to make sure that the student is safe. So those are the difference between non-imminent and imminent danger, and we want to make sure that you know exactly what to do if you have an emergency situation. Okay, let's talk about logging your conversation with the family. Now, when you do have an emergency situation, we would ask that you create a confidential log indicating that you needed to call 911 and get help out to the family or whatever the emergency was. And then from there, we're going to ask you to create a non-confidential log with very basic information so that other staff and people know that you have made contact with the family, but they don't know the extent of the situation. We do need to be careful in our logs because we do have many different people that can see this information. So if you are weary or you are concerned about the information that you are logging, chances are it needs to be a confidential log. But again, you can always reach out to your administration. You can reach out to myself or Sid or to your manager to determine whether or not a confidential log is needed or just a non-confidential log. Once the situation has calm down, that would be a time that you would create the child welfare IA. Now, if you are not familiar with creating IAs, it's okay. Just rip off the Band-Aid and try it. Just do it to the best of your ability. We do give you some instructions right here on how to name it, what system, the location, component, the type, and the urgency. All of our child welfare IAs are marked private, and we do limit the stakeholders for student confidentiality. So if you do ever make an IA and then you're wondering where that IA went, chances are we had to clean up our stakeholders for student confidentiality, but please just trust that our school counselors are handling the situation. So if you see that the IA is gone, do not be alarmed. Chances are we had to do that for confidentiality. We do ask that you mark out the date out to 3 school days to allow your school counselor to manage the request. If you need a call sooner, please just ensure the school counselor is aware so that they can be timely with their response and get to them at a decent time. Now we have automated stakeholders that will pop up. Always keep those people on the child welfare IAs, please. But you will also add the school counselor and the school social worker. If you are unaware who the school social worker is, for our K-5 population, we have Jessica Lloyd. For our middle school population, we have Caroline Sullivan. And for our high school population, we have Haley Cannon. And if for some reason you forget, it is absolutely okay. Our school counselor will ensure that the appropriate school social worker is added. If you are not sure either on what school counselor to add, you can see it right here. Here's our K-5 team, our 6-8 team, and our 9, 10, 11, 12 team, and it is broken down by alpha split. This does shift a little bit every year, so please be sure that you are referring to the proper protocol so that you get the correct counselor. And another way to find the counselor is on the student overview page. You will see in the sections that all of our students are sectioned to a school counselor. So if you do not remember who that is a quick way to find it. Now in the IA, we will ask you to summarize your conversation. So please just give a brief description on what occurred and how you responded. This always helps our school counselors so that they know where you left off on it, where the help is needed. Oftentimes after you meet with the school counselor, they'll add some notes in there as well that they had met with you and what information was shared so that they know how to follow up with the family. Now, last, we do know that emergencies happen after hours. We do encourage all of our teachers and counselors not to work after hours, especially make student outreach. This is important because we have very, very limited staff that is able to step in and help you if you are reaching out to students after hours. We want to be respectful of everyone's working hours and make sure that we are really just contacting students within our working hours, just like a traditional brick and mortar. So if you would not contact a family after your working hours, we would absolutely appreciate that. But of course, if you have an emergency situation and you need help after hours, please reach out to admin. We have added our personal cell phone numbers to the bottom of this child welfare protocol. We ask that you keep this document in-house, please, especially our personal cell phone numbers. Please do not give those out to families. But you can always call us if you have an emergency situation that cannot wait until the following morning. Again, student safety is what is most important in our environment, and we always want to ensure that students are safe, but we do encourage you that you only work within your working hours. Okay, before I wrap up this training, I do want to take a couple minutes to review some wellness and self-care resources. We know the work that you do on a daily basis is a lot, and we want to make sure that you know that you are a valued member here at SCCA, and we want to make sure that you always have the help that you need to take care of yourself. So here is a wellness self-care resource for helping the profession. We do have a 24-hour free resource that you can always use if you need it. We also have our employee assistant program where you can get a certain amount of free counseling sessions through our school. I believe it's 6. You can have those virtual or in person. So if you are dealing with a situation outside of work and need some support, please know that you have this as an option. You can also reach out to our school counselors if you can't find this resource, and we'd be happy to give it to you. But the work that you do really is important, and we do value you very much. And we want to make sure that you are also taking care of yourself with this hard work that you do. So again, we want to thank you for your time in completing this training and listening and walking through it. But most importantly, remember this. You are never expected to handle a student safety concern alone. You always have us. Reach out, ask questions, lean on your school counseling team. We're here to support you so that together we can provide the best possible support to each and every student. We hope that you all have a wonderful school year, and thank you so much for everything you do for our students and for our families. We hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful school year. Thank you.